Hi and welcome back to the Stitching Spirit channel. Today I'm going to show you 4 ways in which you can transfer your pattern onto your fabric. So let's go! So my most favourite option is definitely the Lightbox. These are fairly cheap from Amazon. I will leave a link below where the one I've got, mini sunlight pad. I think they're still available, but there's lots of different options on there. But basically it just plugs in and you've got a little light switch which you turn on, and then you can simply just put your pattern on the light box and then place your fabric on top, and then you can trace through there with a heat erasable friction pen, and that's really easy. And it's really good for, say, if you are working in a dark room or you don't get a lot of light through your window, this is perfect. Yeah, and it comes with a little ruler as well, which sometimes is helpful if you're measuring specific designs. But yeah, that's my favourite, so I'll show you how that works next. So as you can see, I can see that very clearly through there. So now I will just use a heat erasable friction pen like this, and these come in different colours. Yeah, I'll show you a better close-up. But yeah, so that it's really simple. I would just go over, start tracing it. I sometimes use a backwards and forwards motion with these pens, just with it going over the fabric weave. Yep, like that. And then just keep going until it's done. I just wanted to say as well, these friction pens, the heat erasable friction pens, are by far the best tool I've ever used to transfer a pattern onto fabric. I've used others before, like water soluble ones and chalk ones and things like that, but I found that the water soluble ones could sometimes leave traces of the ink once it had been washed away and maybe left for a while. And I know there's others that you can transfer them and then after a while it kind of just disappears by itself. Again, I think that's not as reliable as these, because you don't know how long sometimes that you're going to maybe take a break or whatever. So the only thing with these I've heard is obviously they're heat erasable. So if you leave it like out in the sun or something really hot, obviously it'll disappear. The one thing I have heard though is if you put it in the freezer, if you put the fabric with the pen marks in the freezer, it brings it back. I've never actually tested it, but that's what I've heard. Apparently, if you know, for some reason it's been left out in the sun or somewhere really, really hot. But these, I've never had any trouble. And then these come in so many colours as well. So if you have like sort of a darker fabric, or maybe not too dark, but if you had a fabric that, say, you wanted to pick a specific colour, there's so many colours in this. Yeah, so they're the best tools I would recommend to use. So the next way I'm going to show you is to transfer it through a window. So if you don't have a light box or you don't want to buy one, just simply start by cutting out just around the hoop size. This will then make it easy enough for you to place it on the back like this. And then you could also tape it on the back, maybe to the back of your hoop, just to keep it in place so it doesn't move. You can then just take it straight to your window, place it on there, and then continue to trace it. And because you've taped it to the back, it shouldn't move. So another way you can do it is using a torch on your phone. So most people have torches on their phones, or you could do it through a lamp if you've got like a little lamp. Again, keeping the pattern on the back, and then I would just simply hold it and continue to trace it. Another way you could do it as well, if you have like a tablet or an iPad, that's another really good way to do it. just use like a really bright white page, or turn your brightness up on something that's really white and bright, and then you continue like that. So the last method I want to show you is quite an old school one. It is carbon paper. So if you don't know what carbon paper is, basically it's like a really thin sheet of paper, and it's got this like waxy sort of like dye almost on one side, and then it's just smooth on the other side. So basically you are transferring the waxiness, like the waxy colour, onto your fabric. This is really, really good if you have like a really dark fabric and you can't see the pattern through light, or if you're really struggling to transfer the pattern if it's like a really dark fabric, because this comes in lots of different colours. So, and they're really cheap. I got these off Amazon. Again, I'll leave a link below. These are all just A4 sheets and it was super cheap. Obviously you can get black, which is the most common colour, but you can get like whites and yellows, things like that. And they generally make sure you store them like they generally come with like these really thin, just plain sheets of tissue paper, because obviously then that stops the waxiness from transferring onto the other sheets, and it just keeps them less sort of smudgy. Because see, can you see that? That's what happens if you don't like sort of put them away, or if you have tissue paper, don't have tissue paper, or just keep them the same colours together, things like that. So yeah, I would recommend them. I very, very, very rarely use carbon paper, just because it doesn't erase afterwards. There might be some secret hacky way that I don't know how to like get rid of that sort of the markings, but generally it just doesn't come off. But if you're okay with that, and you know that you're gonna embroider quite a lot over it, or just really make sure that your stitches cover the markings so that it doesn't matter, you won't be able to see, you'll just see the stitches, that's fine. So I'll show you how to do that next. So you're just gonna, I just put like a really just put like a scrap bit of paper down or something you're not worried about getting dirty or markings on. Put the fabric that you want to use on top of that, then put the carbon paper down with, like I say, the waxy side on the bottom, so that is then going to transfer onto the fabric. Then you want to place the pattern on the top. Again, you can make sure that it's central to where you want it on the piece of fabric. So maybe like that. And then just take a really sharp pencil, and then you're just going to, or just something that like you can see the markings, maybe like you could even use like a felt tip pen or something, but bear in mind you're going to draw on this, so if you've only got one copy, you're probably better off with a pencil. So then you're just going to trace over the pattern. Sometimes you need to press quite hard, it depends how good the carbon paper is. And hopefully like that. And then you would just continue that. Again, you could tape this to the carbon paper just so it doesn't move, then you're really sure that it's not going to move. And then yeah, that's the last one. So those are the 4 ways that I would suggest you transfer your patterns, 4 different ways. Again, I would really recommend getting a Lightbox. You can get smaller ones. That is quite a big one that I've got, is A3, but you can get smaller ones that are like A4, which are probably cheaper. So I will leave all those links below. If you like the pattern that I was using, this pattern is actually the free pattern that you get when you join the Stitching Spirit newsletter. So if you want this pattern for free, feel free to join the newsletter, and look out for my next videos. I'm going to be doing some more embroidery basics. If you have any questions or suggestions on embroidery sort of basic, or even any embroidery videos you want me to do, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you again next time.